Hi everyone, welcome back to Soch 1101, Law, Crime and Punishment. Hope all is well and that you're enjoying these beautiful first days of summer. In this video, I'm going to go over some issues that came up as I was grading your reading journals for week 1 and share some thoughts on how to do better in the future. More importantly, Reading Journal 1 was designed specifically in order to bring up some fundamental issues regarding what sociology is and how to think as sociologists. So the lesson here is more important than just Reading Journal 1. It relates to the course, your academic career, and life more generally. Question 1 asks about the 3 types of legal consciousness discussed in Millie's story. The 3 types, as most of you managed to discern, are 1. Before the law, 2. Against the law, and 3. With the law. Here's how the authors summarize it on page 14 of the text. Millie Simpson's different experiences of law, her initial submissiveness before the law, her contest over her conviction, her acts of resistance are all part of the project of describing legality. The discernible variations in legal consciousness represent the ambivalent and shifting experiences and understandings of men and women as they move through legal institutions and other arrangements of power. Notice the subtle difference between against the law and with the law. Against the law, as exemplified by Millie's contestation of her conviction, is, simply put, fighting back within the boundaries of the system. With the law, on the other hand, is like fighting the system from the outside, challenging its very claims to power. It's about being rebellious in a sneaky, smooth, clever way. It's an unwillingness to accept the rules of the game and trying to manipulate them. I want you to keep in mind that this text and these 3 types of legal consciousness will accompany us throughout the course and will serve as the basis for a final podcast assignment. That being the case, make sure you understand them, and if you don't, please write to me and let's talk about it. Now, question 2 was a tricky one. Most of you did not get it right, which is fine. I want to go over it and make sure you understand what I was looking for here. It is more than just the right answer. It's a state of mind that I was seeking to cultivate here and in this course. And this question is a prime example of that mindset. So the question asked, can you sense the presence or operation of the law in the very text, that is, in the PDF document that you downloaded from Canvas that you read for this week? And the point here was to actually seriously put into practice Uik and Silby's main argument in this text, that the law is omnipresent, that it surrounds us, that it is within us, that it is part of us, that there is law in everything we do and are. It's a different attitude to law than the traditional one, which treats the law as a separate entity, as something that happens only in courts or legal documents. So the question here requires that you take a step back from the text, forget about its content for a minute, and try to seriously reflect on the aforementioned argument. Where is the law in this experience of you having to read this text for week 1? Where is that presence of the law in that very experience of yours? And there are many ways to answer this question. One of them is to look at page 2 of the PDF document. In that page that includes all those small letters and strange numbers and signs that we usually skip on our way to the actual text. What is this page? What is its purpose? Who and what does it serve? What does it say? One main issue here is, of course, copyright issue. Who owns the rights to use this text, this book, and its contents? And what does it even mean to have rights? The broader lesson here is to keep in mind that everything that we are learning in this course is, like the law, not something that is separate from our own experience as human beings, but rather intertwined with it. It's part of who we are. When we study the law, when we take this course, we study ourselves, our own experience as human beings. It always relates to and is part of our own lives. In other words, I want you to always reflect not only about the content of the text or or the video that we are reading or watching, but also about our own experience reading that very text that you were assigned in an online summer course as students at the University of Minnesota and as human beings living on a beautiful blue planet that's floating around the sun. That is the spirit of the course, the spirit of sociology. Question 3 is also a very important one, as it is centered on the tension between structure and agency, which is a tension that's at the very core of our human existence. Many of you shared personal and often painful stories, and I appreciate that. Some of you shared stories about making bad decisions or friends who have made some bad life decisions. And the question is always, how much freedom did they have when making those poor choices? Did they really have a choice? How much choice did they really have, and how much of it was imposed on them from the outside? For instance, most of us, I'm assuming, come from a middle or upper middle class background, are from relatively stable families. Most of us grew up in safe spaces, attended high quality schools, and received good education. So the choice to attend the University of Minnesota, for instance, was probably a fairly easy one, barely even a choice. Some of us were not that lucky though, or had a fundamentally different experience. How much choice do kids who grow up in the south side of Chicago have in comparison? When you grow up in a world where crime is normal, where education sucks, where you don't have a stable family to support you or rely on, what we think as the right choice or the obvious choice is a much more challenging task. For some people, committing crime seems like the only option available. Simply put, crime is the norm. So these are the type of questions and mindset that I want you to embrace and keep in mind at all times. What was the structure in which a person grew up in? A structure that shaped them as social beings and human beings. And how much freedom did they have when making poor life decisions? Or the flip side of it, what was the social structure that we were born into? And how much choice did we really have all along the way? For instance, was going to school straight out of high school really our choice? Finally, many of you received grades that are probably a bit lower than what you are used to in school at the University of Minnesota. Please don't worry about it. We're only at the beginning of the process, getting to know each other and learning from each other. There will be many chances along the way and down the road for bonus points, and as long as you're putting in the work, I promise you that you will end up with a grade that you're proud of. In the meantime, please write to me with any questions or concerns that you might have, and let me know if you're interested in chatting on Skype or Google Hangouts or whatever. I'd love to get to know each and every one of you on a personal level, so please don't be shy and let's talk about it. That is it for today. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will return with more videos in the future. Take care.